What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 27 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to conclude my talks about Brian Lee O'Malley's Scott Pilgrim series from Oni Press. Today, I want to talk to you about Scott Pilgrim Volume 6, Scott Pilgrim's Finest Hour. This is the finale of the series. Up until this point, we have seen Scott Pilgrim face off against 7 evil exes, technically, because she fought twins at one point. And so now she gets to fight the last of the evil exes, which is Gideon, and he is the guy who gathered this entire group together. And this series has been hinting at Gideon for a while now, and making him seem like this really evil, really sinister presence. And this book does not disappoint. It gives us a really adequate, really dangerous threat for Scott and Ramona to face off against in this final volume. And that could have been really bad. This could have been a situation where we've been leading up to this guy and we've been hinting at him and teasing him for a while now, and then this book gives us Gideon and it's just like, oh, he's just a dude. But he's not. He's really creepy and really evil and just a jerk all around, and this book really does not pull any punches on making him this really evil jerk of a bad guy. And I think part of the reason that it does that, one, it would have been anticlimactic if they didn't do that, and two, I have not been shy about saying that Scott and Ramona are not really great people in this series, and so I feel like they needed to have their antagonist for the finale of the series be someone who is just really incredibly awful to make them look better by comparison. And I think it kind of works, although at the end of this book, I still don't really like Ramona, I still don't really like Scott very much, and then these two are like, well, let's get back together, we're going to try and make it work as adults, and then it's like, I'm not really rooting for you two to get together. I don't really want that. Even though this entire series has been about that, I don't find myself really happy that these two are getting back together. But I did find myself rooting for them when they were fighting against Gideon, because he is just a terrible, awful monster of a human being. And I'll let you read this to kind of figure out what I mean by that. But this book, more than any of the others, is really about the transition from childhood to adulthood. You've got Scott, who is the picture definition of a man-child. He doesn't take responsibility for anything in his life. He basically just freeloads off of everybody. Whenever Ramona leaves him, he accidentally locks himself out of their apartment, and then his parents just buy him a new apartment. That's the kind of guy that Scott is. In this volume, he basically goes around asking everybody, he's talking to everyone, and he basically figures out that nobody here thinks that he is ready for adulthood, and they're all kind of talking about how they're moving on with their lives, and hey, Scott, maybe you should also. So this entire book is really about that, and at the end, when Scott and Ramona are talking about renewing their relationship, they're really talking also about renewing their attempts to go into adulthood together. And I really like that as a thematic crux of this volume. I wish that it had been present throughout the entire series. And I do think that this series could have been a comedic series and also be about something kind of heavy like that. You might be thinking, well, something like that, it would be really hard to make it funny. I think that Brian Lee O'Malley could have made it work because there are times in the series where you've got something heavy going on, but then you've also got funny stuff going on. And I really think that he could have done this whole series as a millennial who's trying to move into adulthood, but it's really hard for him, and then he's trying to work against that struggle, and then he's also fighting ninjas with his video game sword on the side. I think that you could have made that work. But overall, I liked Volume 6 quite a bit. I know it doesn't sound like I liked it too much, but overall, would I recommend this volume and would I recommend this series? Probably I would. I think that I'm definitely in the minority of people who wasn't as crazy about this series as everyone else. I think that I had more problems with it than anyone else would. I'm going to go ahead and guess that if you're watching this video, you're probably more interested in Scott Pilgrim than I am. So if you haven't read the series, I would recommend reading this series. They have put out color volumes much more recently than these volumes. The ones I read were the black and white volumes, but they have done color volumes. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Me personally, I'm much more interested in how the comic was originally presented, but that's just me. But you could read this series in black and white or read it in color, suit yourself. But those are my thoughts on Scott Pilgrim Gets It Together. Scott Pilgrim's Finest Hour, sorry. This is the final volume of the series, and I will talk to you guys about something else tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm going to be talking about. In the meantime, I will see you guys in the future. Have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.